Hello, good morning, Sitaram, and welcome to this another program in the series, Addiction and Recovery. Let me welcome all our listeners, our brothers and sisters in Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide, wherever you are and listening to us, viewing us on whatever platform. I want to say good morning to you all and welcome. And to let you know, this is an interactive program uh, that is done weekly on Thursdays at 9 o'clock. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. You may call during the program at any point in time. The numbers are on your screen, 663-2335 and 663-1027. And we would be happy to respond to your questions or to entertain any comments, short comments that you may have. Just to remind our listeners, this program is also aired, repeated again tonight on radio and TV Jagriti at 10 p.m. And the program is posted on YouTube and Facebook in a few minutes after the close of the program. So that those of you who would like to go back and look at it, or you would like to refer someone to the program so that they can benefit from the discussion, you may be able to do so. Today, we are very, very fortunate that we have a special guest. I want to say a few things about our guest. Her name is Sati. And this is a person whose work I have admired in the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. She's been with the fellowship and sober for the last 17 years and 1 month. And today, we are fortunate to have her on the program. Now, Sati has been involved widely in helping young people, especially women. In fact, she has started a group. And I want to say something about that because Alcoholics Anonymous has been basically a male-dominated fellowship. You know, very rare you'd ever find a female alcoholic in the old days in the fellowship because of the stigma associated with alcoholism and drug addiction. Women, find it much more difficult to access treatment or to go seeking help because they don't want anybody to know. Besides, even for a woman to sit in a group of men in a meeting, I have visited in many places in the world and I know how you have to be very courageous. So as I say that, I want to say Sitaram and welcome to Sati this morning, who is joining us. And Sati herself will tell you a little bit about herself. Hello, Sati, welcome to the program.
Sitaram, and thank you for having me here. Like you say, I'm in recovery for the past 17 years. I haven't had a drink and it's an awesome life, So I want to tell the listeners out there, especially women, that it does have life after alcohol. I never thought so. I never think that, that I could live sober. And, while drinking, I used to associate myself with only people who drink. So I thought that was a way of life. I really thought that. But firstly, Naris, I would like to tell the women or men outside there listening that alcoholics are not bad person, It's not bad people like the society may deem us, weak and wicked to ourselves that we drinking. Why can't we stop? Why can't we control this? Why can't we take just 1 or 2 little drinks and stop right there? You're wicked to yourself, you don't love your family, you don't love yourself. But to tell you the truth, Naris, what I've learned over the years is that I wasn't a wicked person or a bad person. I was a sick person who has developed the disease of alcoholism. And with, all well and good intentions, I love my family. I love my mother. I love my neighbors. I love everybody, But when it comes to drinking, You know, as the moment I take one drink, I could never stop. I could never stop. So that is the difference between a normal person who could take one, you know, but I have developed the allergy. So in other words, an alcoholic like myself is allergic to any mind-altering substance.
Right.
So definitely I cannot have, not even fruitcake at Christmas. I cannot have that, you know, even shandy.
Right.
Um, and I am living like that for the past 17 years. And it's been a joy because, you know, my kids are happy today. My mom is at peace today because her daughter doesn't drink anymore, you know? And I myself, I am happy today. Happy, joyous, and free, we love to see in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know? It had times when, you know, during my active alcoholism, I used to drink just for no reason. You know, sometimes I happy, I drank. I sad, I drank, you know. Someone died, I drank. Some baby born, I drank. Rainfall, I find excuses to drink because I had to drink. And like, you know, that is a sentence, I had to. It never started off so, you know, Naris.
Yeah, I was
It's
just going to ask you, was it always like that? How did this all start?
No, it started when, well, in my home, I grew up in my home, never knowing that women could drink. I
Okay.
never saw my, you know, my mom drink or my dad drink, but my brothers used to drink. And I thought, well, alcohol is for men only. But when I got married, I was married into a family who men, women, children drink. So I was introduced at that point in time to alcohol, right? But I was a person who couldn't socialize. You know, I couldn't go out there and talk and dance and have a fun time.
Mm.
But when I tasted alcohol, I realized that solves everything. You know, I
Okay.
started to socialize, you know. But it was nice in the beginning, you know. It was nice when I could take one or two and go home. Or, you know, I would drink from a birthday and then I will drink for Christmas, you know. But like we say in Alcoholics Anonymous, alcoholism is a progressive disease. It gets worse, it never get better.
Right.
And it also a cunning, baffling, and powerful disease because it tells me, okay, last week when I drank, I misbehaved, I quarreled, I didn't cook for the kids, I didn't do the housework that I was supposed to do or attend to my business because I was self-employed. Um, you know, I say in this week it wouldn't happen like that.
Right.
But guess what? The moment I take one drink, you
Mm.
know, I went again into oblivion and everything happened again, you know? And over the years of drinking, then I realized that I had to drink, you know, because I live to drink and I drink to live. And they will become, you know, a problem in my life. There will become, I lost all my respect to my children, to my neighbors, to my mom, to the community. And though there way I become that I put God at the back burner. I forget all about praying and, you know, all this thing. And I'm a Hindu, you know. I forget. Sometimes I fast just one day, Diwali day, you know.
Right.
And at that point in time, when I fast, I didn't have a drink Diwali day, but I'm very, you know, angry with the world at that point in time, you know. But
If you just pause there, let me remind our
so
listeners that this is an interactive program. The numbers are on your screen. And if you have any questions, you're quite free. As soon as you call, we'll take your call. Or if you have a comment to make about alcoholism or drug addiction, you're quite welcome to do so. But I want to come back, Sati. I know in Trinidad it is very difficult for men. A lot of men, well, of course, this is a disease of denial. It seems like the last person who think they have a problem would be the person who drinking. And I know how difficult it is for men to admit that they can't handle it drinking. But I also have realized from working in the field that it is so much more difficult for women not only to admit but to seek help. What would be your remarks in that regard?
yeah, definitely narrates. It is very it's a stigma, attached. Because when people hear a woman want help for their alcoholic drinking, or maybe they want to come to AA, or they may want to make a phone call and ask, can I get some sort of assistance, with my problem. They people, society there deem them immediately worse than anything, you know because I remember someone was saying, they were describing the people in their family, right?
Right.
And they say, my cousin is a prostitute, my next cousin is a doctor, the next one is a self-employed person. And when time come to explain and say, well, my daughter or my mother or my sister is in Alcoholics Anonymous, they're ashamed.
Yeah.
you know it is a shame to say this. But let me tell you one thing that worked for me now is
Right.
when I entered the doors of AA and I listened to what these people and them had to say, and they share my story, like it is my experience in the bottle. You know what prompted me when I stayed sober for the first 3 weeks? My kids was smiling again.
Okay.
You know, my mom was happy. So either I want to go back out there and drink and be miserable and everybody around me, or either I want to face this stigma that people is saying about women in Alcoholics Anonymous, and be a sober mother, a sober daughter, a sober person in the community. So I choose, you know, I choose. This is what I want to do. And I also want to help others, help other women. Yeah. And that goes back to where you say the group has opened.
Yes,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that, Sati. I know you have been
So,
working, doing a lot of service at the organizational level of Alcoholics Anonymous, but also on the ground with young people and especially I understand that you you assisted in forming a women's group. Tell us a little bit about that and how people might, you know, if someone, if a woman in particular, if they would like to get in touch or they would like to find out more about this, you know, tell us a little bit about this group.
sure. So the rehab centers, the hospitals, and places like temples and mosques and churches and things have my number. We
Right.
do not share out the link for the sober sisters unless I communicate with another woman, because this group is made up of only women who need help. So
You
we
just you
share
just said the name, Sober Sisters.
sober sisters.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, sober sisters. So we have a link. So Naricity could put, or maybe they could get in contact with you, or you
Yes.
can have my number, you
Right.
know. Yeah, and you could give them my number, and then I could talk a little to them, and then get them
Right.
involved in
So,
this
in other
group.
words, what you're saying, Sati, anyone wishing to join your group, women, They can
Yeah.
call the radio station, they can call me. I will get the information to you, and I'll make the connection so that they can speak directly to you, and you will give them the information as to how to link up with that group. All right, but
Sure.
tell me a little bit about the group and how things have been going in that direction.
Okay. Well, we started this group in 2017,
Right.
right? Uh, for the longest while, because when I entered AA, right, it only had like one or two women. So, I used to walk into a meeting with about 20, 25 men, and I am the only woman in the group. So I decided that was my dream. That was my dream, to open this women's group. So it will help me as well as other women coming in, maybe young, older, whatever it is, But we have girls in this Sober Sisters meeting from the age of early as 20 to 68
Okay.
to 70. Yes, we have those. So like I said, my number is all over. So they call me and they connect. So this group, we have 3 meetings per week.
Right.
On a Wednesday night at 7 p.m., Friday at 7 p.m., and Sundays at 4 p.m. And the nice thing about it, Nari, is you don't have to leave your living room.
Okay. So these are
That is it.
online meetings,
Yes,
right?
online Zoom. So you just log on and you listen. And what we just ask is that you be in a private place, because we as women share our dark, deep secrets. We share to each one another, to each other, because that is the recovery there, one alcoholic talking to another, you know. So we have these women. Well, like I said, we started off with 2, and for like 6 months, 2 of us sit there. That time, we had face-to-face meeting. So we used to have it at Vishnu Boys College in Karani, and we sit there and we wait. Today we have 15 plus women in that group, So it's telling us something, that we are doing something, something. And also to Naris, I would like to say, it's more women that is drinking now, because if you pass and you look in the bars, you will see women with a bank uniform or whatever uniform. They go to work and swinging in the stool, and having a good time.
You're so right.
So we have to be here. We have to stay here and carry this message, because people have to know about us. I mean, I would love to see my fellow sisters, get help, just like how I got help,
So you all had started meeting in physically at the Vishnu Boys, and I suppose just like many other groups at the COVID, I know a lot of groups could not meet physically, and the online meetings were started, and now it is growing because I am aware that on other platforms, other online meetings, there are more and more younger people, and a lot more women are attending those meetings. So I suppose this is the same with your group as well.
Yes, yes. And I must say that we getting younger, we getting newcomers, like we call them newcomers,
Right.
more online, because women don't want to take a drive down to Vishnu Boys and let people see them coming out the car. Like I say, it is embarrassing, but you could sit in your own living room here,
Right.
and I mean, I could talk for myself. I don't be ashamed anymore to say that my name is Sati and I'm a recovering alcoholic,
All right,
because
but
my
you said something earlier, and I want to clarify that, yes, it is true that in a closed meeting, in an online meeting where with women only, women definitely are going to feel more comfortable to speak about personal issues, but I don't want people out there listening to think you have to go and speak of your dark secrets. It's up to you, basically, when you come, what you want to
Exactly.
speak about. A lot of people feel, the accusation has been made there, Sati, that even in the men, in the open meeting, in the old days, I've heard people say, you have to go there and talk your business. Nobody want to go on there and talk your business and so on. What would be your response to that?
Not necessary, Naris. You have a choice. You can come, take off a video. No, you put on a video a little so that we could see a woman. You
Right.
take off your video and you sit and you listen. You don't have to say anything, you know. Maybe if you have a question you could ask, or something, and then we share numbers. So you maybe could make a private call to someone,
Right.
who you feel you could interact with, or who you trust, or anything that makes you feel comfortable. You could come to this meeting and listen. Listen.
You said at the beginning,
Mhm.
when you went to your early meetings, you were hearing people talking about things that were happening to you. And I've heard the same thing with even the men, because, and I think this is one of the reasons AA, the fellowship, is so successful, because a lot of patients that I work with, they report that, having gone to the first meeting, they actually felt like somebody had gone there and told the people about them. But the
Yeah.
truth is that, it doesn't matter who you are, what ethnicity you are, what social status, whether you're rich or you're poor. Once you drink alcohol or use drugs, you are going to have the process is the same. And so I'm saying this for the public because this is what it's called identification. When you go to an AA meeting for the first time, you realize, but wait, the same thing that I have been experiencing, these people are talking about the same thing. The same thing is happening with them as well. And from a professional perspective, I realize this is one of the things that help a lot of new people to realize, well, wait, I thought this was happening with me alone. But look, here are other people talking about the same thing. And that is what leads to a certain level of comfort that, look, maybe if I stay here, here's a group of people who understand what I'm going through. And if they're saying that this program has helped them to stay sober, maybe it can help me as well. But what is this program? A lot of people think you just have to go to the meeting, but I know at the beginning of this program, we had the 12 steps being read, and I want to thank Francis and the staff and they for the lead up, the video and the 12 step. But you want to tell us a little bit about this program that you talk about, this 12-step program in AA?
Mhm. Okay, well, when you first go to the meetings, you will sit and listen and you will identify, like you say, because I thought I was the only person to hide my bottles, hide my drinks at home,
Mm.
but I heard it at meetings, and then I understand, and they talk about blackouts. Like, I drink excessively and I can't remember the next day what I did, you know. Next morning when I get up, I can't remember, and I so scary, you know. So I identify. Now, when you stay long enough, and you get, your brain start to work back, and they talk about a sponsor in AA
Right,
where a person you can interact with one-on-one,
right,
you know, and then you get down to the 12-step program like they show it before. Step one, you admitted that you're powerless and your life had become unmanageable because of your drinking. Your life had become unmanageable, and unmanageability is not really about money and big house and whatever. It's just the unmanageability of your whole entire life, your physical, mental, spiritual, being. And this 12 step also to bring to my attention that alcohol was just a symptom of my problem, you know, alcohol and other drugs, you know, but my problem lies deep within, you know. maybe all these defects of character, you know, they talk about in throughout the thing, the 12 steps. It also made me, you know, it made me understand that I had to recognize my resentments, my anger, my, you know, all the different things that go with it. So it also, and most importantly, take me back to the God of my understanding. You know, it also, you know, it made me form like a relationship with people and my higher power. And that is of most important. So it's not about coming here and just talking out your business. At first, you come, you identify when the people share whatever they share, but then you have to go down to you. You have to start to focus on you know, and fix what has happened, what causes you to drink or to use these substances, you know, to live or to function in the world out there. And that's what I have done, you know. You make your amends, you know, and you continue to do that. It is a daily reprieve,
Right.
you know. We don't stay. I'm not coming here to say, well, okay, for the rest of my life, I wouldn't drink, but I wouldn't drink today. And that is important. Yesterday has gone, tomorrow is a mystery. I living in the present. Today is through the grace of God, I am not drinking today. And that's the program about, you know. And you will find that when you're done the 12 step, you have a new life.
Basically, that's you're referring to what is referred to sometimes as the formula. You know, we avoid the first drink one day at a time. And yes, that will keep a person abstinent. But what you are there's a in AA it is I've heard it often said, there's abstinence and there's sobriety. There's a lot of people who could put down the glass, avoid the first drink one day at a time, and yeah, they can stay abstinent. But the disease that is alcoholism is not just about drinking. In fact, very often we have heard it said that drinking was only a symptom of the disease. There were other symptoms. There is low self-esteem, there's poor coping skills, there is, selfishness, self-centeredness. There's a whole lot of, it's often described as an emotional illness. And I also know, Sati, that you did go and follow up after you stopped drinking. You did training. In
Yeah.
fact, I actually met you at CARIAD, the Caribbean Institute on Alcoholism and Drug Addiction. And I know you have worked extensively with the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous at the various levels and so on. And yes, the truth is, for people who are in recovery, it is highly recommended that they get involved in service, that is, in trying to help others. But first, it is said, you have to get into the boat from the water before you could pull someone in the boat. You want to tell us a little bit about, some of the other work you have been doing and so on in terms of recovery. I know you're a member of the fellowship. I don't want you to give away any information as to your identity, but so far as you want to say, in terms of getting involved in service, uh, what
Sure.
has been your experience?
Like you talk about alcoholism before going to service
Sure.
there. I like to say the ism, the ISM is I sponsoring myself.
Okay.
So some
Right.
people do that, but it's not recommended that, you get a sponsor and you work the 12 step.
Right.
But into service, service has helped me a lot, Maris. And
Right.
we're talking about service. I started like around, I was about a year and a half sober, and I started to give service in my, in AA makeup, into groups and stuff. So I started off there in my group, just a shake hand by the door or welcoming a newcomer, whatever. But I went into public information where I felt that that was my dream,
Right.
going to companies, talking to the professionals, and the workers, also going into rehab centers, taking the message of Alcoholics Anonymous, the message of recovery into these places. And when I started to associate myself with those areas, hospitals and rehabs, and even to temples, I went and tour, you know, talk about myself and carry the message. I found out that it have a lot of people who doesn't know, about alcoholism or addiction. You know, they hide. You know, I like to say program like these bring out the people from behind the curtain who is drinking in the room. And I used to drink like that, drinking in the rooms, and hiding. And these are this is a program that we need more often, to help those out there. And I went to the general service of Alcoholics Anonymous, where I did service there for 4+ years, and going on to there, I have learned more about myself than anything else. We say carrying this message and helping others, is all well and good, but it's also I'm helping myself, reminding me every day where I came from, and I don't want to go back there, you know. So doing
If I should just
service.
make a comment, one of the symptoms of alcoholism, from my experience working with alcoholics and in the literature, is that there's always a feeling of inadequacy. Alcoholics and drug addicts too, they have a feeling of, low self-esteem basically. And there's always a feeling I have to take a drink or I have to take a smoke in order to be able to speak to an audience or to sing a song or, to function at another level that I'm not comfortable with. And I'm saying this to say that once a person stops, when they get involved in service, they are literally challenging themselves to do things, to chair a meeting, to even make coffee, to even take a responsibility in their group, to become involved in service. And these are the things that would build their confidence, and I could hear it in your voice, Sati, today. You can, as a woman, you can, on national television, you can speak about your experience, not that you want to impress people, but the fact is that you know that a message coming from you to women in particular, if you could do this, they could do it as well. So I'm really, really happy that you're on this program, sharing your personal life, which is really not a lot of people are willing to do that. And the reason being, you want to reach out and let women out there know that, look, there's a place if you have a problem, because you also referred to it. Women generally tend to be closet drinkers. They don't want anybody to know. They don't want the family to know. They don't want the in-laws to know. So they hide and they take their drink and they try to eat all kind of dinnerment and mouthwash and all of that to hide the smell. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, Sati.
Yes, yes.
I'm trying to get back sober before the husband come back in the evening, and sometime you don't make it in time, and you drop asleep and didn't cook the food, and now you have to tell a set of lies. I've heard all the kind of stories in my years working in the field there, in the treatment and rehab. I'm, as I listen to you, I'm thinking about all of these things, the challenges it would have taken for you to decide to go for help and to have been able to stick with it for the last 17 years and to now reach out to other people, because even women sometimes are not very kind to other women. You would have probably met with a lot of people who tend to be abusive and rebuff you, or even want to be insultive sometimes, and want to say why you don't mind your business and all of that. I don't know what would be your comments on what I've said so far.
Yes, yes, all that is true, you know. For men, it is difficult. And it is one word I could say, it is very, very, very difficult and exhausting, you know, hiding and making up and making excuses and all these things is very, very exhausting, you know. So I just choose to go the easier, softer way, you know, to
Right,
recovery, you know. And
right,
when I'm in recovery now, I don't no longer have to go and hide my mouth or, you know, try to put on some makeup and some lipstick to look good. I could stay just how I am, and you know, and be welcomed in the public out here, you know. And this what I am doing here. This is the love that I have, and I have to be grateful to my higher power for using me to help others, because this is where I center my life, you know, in helping people. You know, when I stopped drinking, I thought my life is going to be boring. I
mhm,
wouldn't enjoy myself. How would I live? How would I go river, beach, functions like wedding, whatever? How will I do that? You know? But you know what? That empty void, I fill it with a higher power, first of all, and my days were filled with service, you know, love for people out there where I never loved myself. I never loved, you could tell me love my neighbor. No, I never do that. But this program afforded me that I could feel for another one. You know, I could really love another person really genuinely, you know. And you talk about the people what hiding and drinking. Oh my God, that was me for sure. I
mhm.
used to hide my drinks all behind the fridge, behind the stove, in the rice bucket, you know, under the bed, because I don't want the kids to see. But guess what? When you drink, your face twisting the other way,
Mm.
and you're smelling. I
Okay.
remember, I remember that I went, my daughter have this PTA meeting where they will to, and she invite me. And I went to this PTA meeting and I had a few drinks and talking loud, 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 and everybody smelling me. You know how embarrassing that is, rather to be in recovery, you know? And I went, my daughter started to hide the letters from me of invitation to PTA meeting,
Wow.
you know, because her friend mother went home and talked about it, and her friend come and tell her in school. So you see, an alcoholic drinks, right, or uses, and everybody else suffers as well. Everybody who touched that life suffers. So when you want to make that choice of recovery or non-recovery to go back out there, just think about the people that you're hurting. You know, I used to always see my children face in front of me. If ever I feel to go back out there, which I never did, thank you, Lord. I never did, you know. But these are the options you have. And you is the person to choose whosoever here and outside.
You know, a lot of people might ask Sati after 17 years, why you have to keep going back to meetings? You should know how to stay sober by now.
And because once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. The
Mhm.
obsession probably has left, but I am still allergic to alcohol. And like I told you, it's a daily reprieve, right? I
Right.
have to always be reminded that who I am and what I have to do. And you know what, Naris? I started these meetings and them that I had to go to the meeting. But you know, today I want to go
Right.
because somebody in that meeting waiting to hear I say something to save the life.
Right.
And that is why today I want to go meeting.
All right,
You
so
know?
we just have about 2 or 3 minutes again before we end the program, but I just want you to reach out to all the women who might be listening, you know, and who's still deliberating in their mind whether they have a problem or not. What would you want to say to them, Sati, before we close?
Okay, I would like to say to these women, give it a try. There is hope. You're not a bad person, but you're a sick person. And you just make that one phone call, and we are here to help. Yeah, and we would love you until you love yourself. Thank you.
All right, so I want to thank you very much, Sati, for agreeing to come on the program and sharing your personal life story with the intention to really reach out and let people know that it is okay. Just like some people are diabetic, some people are hypertensive. It is okay to suffer with an illness. Today, the World Health Authority, the Pan American Health Organization, even our Ministry of Health recognizes alcoholism as a disease. It
Oh,
is listed in the DSM-3 as a disease. So nothing is wrong. I mean, you can't help it if you're sick. So that, you know, I know a lot of people are reluctant to because of the stigma, but help is available. We are very fortunate in Trinidad that we have the highest proliferation of AA groups per capita, and now we have online meetings. I know
yes,
that the women are finding it very, very convenient to come to the online meetings because they can switch off the video and still keep working in the kitchen while they listen to the meeting. You know,
yes.
so I want to thank you for agreeing to come and sharing with us. And to let all our listeners know, the program is going to be repeated tonight at 10 p.m. on the same radio and television station. It is also going to be recorded on YouTube and posted for posterity and for reference. Any last words you want to say, Sati, before we close?
Well, the last word that I want to say really is that I hope through this program, through this message, that we touch someone. I really, really hope that. And through God's grace, I hope so. You know, someone who is hiding and suffering there. I hope we touch them this morning, Naris. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Francis and all the people in the operating in the television station for sourcing the videos and for making it available and for of course making this program available. I want to thank the Mahasabha board for giving the airtime for this community service. I know they do this without any charge, and I again want to thank them very much for doing this. So thank you all again. Remember next week, Thursday again at 9 a.m. Tune into the same station and we'll be speaking about addiction and recovery. So thank you all very much.